When it comes to video games or pop culture related things, nostalgia is something that drives a lot of business to these companies. That's why you see Hollywood constantly remaking movies, adding a sequel 30 years after the fact of the original movie's release, and this definitely translates to toys and video games too. Most of us like to relive our childhood memories, a time when you didn't have to worry about paying taxes or paying your light bill or anything like that. Your job was to go to school, come home, play video games, hang out with your friends, eat some pizza, skateboard, and be a hooligan. Nostalgia is obviously very important to a company like Nintendo as well, and we've seen lots of success from Nintendo when it comes to leveraging nostalgic things and properties. Of course, many of their mainline games are based on things that were created in the 80s. Some of their most successful franchises, such as Mario and Zelda, these were originally made in the 80s, yet they're still as impactful today as they were back then. We've seen Nintendo kind of embrace nostalgia during the whole mini system craze as well, with the NES Classic and the SNES Classic. Now, both of these systems were admittedly awesome. They spawned a whole bunch of imitation systems to come out. Other companies started doing mini consoles as well because they saw the success of the NES and the Super Nintendo Classic. And I absolutely love both of those systems. Being able to play games from this era on a tiny miniature system with HD visuals now, as it is using emulation, and of course quality of life improvements done to these games too. It was just an absolutely magical thing, pending you could get your hands on one of these. But why am I bringing up NES Classic and Super Nintendo Classic now? The classic market has clearly died down. Nobody's really entering it anymore. There's been a few offshoot things here and there. Sega, of course, was the last one to enter with the Genesis Mini 2, but it's been all quiet on that front because I don't really know. Maybe they feel like nostalgia's tapped out, but I don't necessarily think that's the case, and there's a couple companies that kind of prove that. When you look at a company like Evercade, a virtual unknown when it came to retro gaming stuff, came out with a brand new system that played cartridge-based games, and they've been seeing a lot of success. They have sold over 1 million cartridges on their platforms. They have a plethora of different handhelds and even a home console available. I've talked about them often on the channel because I like what they do. Like, yeah, it's not perfect, but for a retro gaming collector and that collection aspect, there's definitely something there. But what if like a mainline company came out with a new product with new cartridges in 2024 and beyond? Would there be enough nostalgia for that sort of thing? And that's exactly what Atari is doing right now. So I want to talk about what Atari is doing and kind of parallel it to what I would like to see Nintendo do. Because if you're now starting to do things like this, obviously Limited Run Games is working on that special enhanced Doom for SNES thing. I think that there's enough money to be made to make this a viable thing for Nintendo to do. So here's what I'm talking about with Atari. Yes, they remade the 2600, whatever. Like, I can't play 2600 stuff, but Atari 7800 was actually pretty decent. There are some pretty good games on there, a limited library, but definitely things more aligned with an NES style of video game, more so than something you would have seen in the 70s. Well, Atari recently has announced that they are re-releasing the Atari 7800 as the 7800 Plus. You could see here that it is available for pre-order and all of that sort of good stuff. And like, this is a pretty cool looking system. Like, I actually like the Atari 7800. I think this is one of their better systems. If they would have used like a dedicated sound chip instead of just using the same sound chip from the 2600 and the 5200, like, I think this could have been a bit more of a success. But re-releasing this as a full cartridge-based system, I think is absolutely genius. You get a look at the controller here, which is actually pretty cool. I never had one of these controllers with my 7800 that I bought as an adult, of course. All I had were the standard joysticks, but I like the way this looks. You could see the packaging here if it decides to load. Like, very nice looking packaging. Very nice looking system. A modern 7800 in 2024. I assume this is coming out this year. And honestly, I'm probably going to buy one of these because I just find it so interesting. But here's the kicker. This is a brand new Atari 7800 cartridge that will work with the Atari 2600 Plus, the 7800 Plus, and your actual 7800 system if you have an original system. So let's go back and look. You can also get a joystick. Oh, it's a wireless controller. That's nice. But look at all these games that are coming out in brand new cartridge form for $30. You already see where I'm going with this, but I want to talk about these games kind of first before we get into that. Really, when it comes down to this, I think Bentley Bear, which you get with the system, is probably going to be a good game. I remember seeing footage of that because it's an older homebrew project, and Berserk, I think, is going to be really cool. I saw a screenshot somewhere for it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So you can kind of get a look at Berserk. Like, yeah, it's basic, but you know, it's very, very cool and something that I think is awesome. Making new cartridges for a new system. Now, this is emulation based. So this is kind of where I tie everything back to Nintendo, because you cannot sit there and look me dead in the face and tell me that if Nintendo made a revised NES system that would be able to play a new cartridge format that they re-release on your HD television with some modern quality of life features, a controller or something like that. If they positioned it, they're selling the Atari for $130. Nintendo could easily position this at $150, come out with like 20 cartridges, gotta collect them all sort of thing, and it would sell like crack in the 80s, bro. It would sell like crack in the 80s. There is no doubt about it. And I think that things like this need to happen. I think this would be so awesome. And I know there's going to be people that are just going to be like, well, I could just play it on Nintendo Switch Online. And you can. I'm actually saying use what you have with Nintendo Switch Online to have your sort of basis on how the system is going to look and run. You could clearly use that, or you could use something like the NES Classic. Stuff you already have readily available. Like, yes, you will have to do some cartridge manufacturing. Whoop-de-doo. This will sell like absolute craziness, and I don't feel like it infringes on Nintendo Switch Online, because Nintendo Switch Online is always going to be more robust. You'll have those online features as well that you could get with the games that this will not, be able to do. But I feel like this is such an untapped market and something that would be extremely successful, generating yet another revenue stream for Nintendo without stepping on their toes, appeasing to that nostalgia audience that clearly exists because everyone bought the NES Classic and everyone bought the Super Nintendo Classic. But I mean, honestly, bro, like, I'm out of the collecting game, but if they re-released like new NES cartridges and stuff, and I could use my NES cartridges on this new system that they made, tell me people wouldn't be all over that. You get a new box art, you get a new manual, make it a little bit different from the OG stuff, clearly, but this would just be so awesome. And I absolutely love that Atari is doing this. This is way cooler than the VCS. Nobody cares about the VCS, but stuff like this, value priced games. And yeah, they're not going to be, is there a picture of Bentley Bear? I swear it's a good look at this. That is a good ass looking Atari 7800 game. I knew I've seen a screenshot of it. But you're telling me that this wouldn't sell for Nintendo? You're telling me that this wouldn't be a good idea for them to re-release this stuff that they own the complete IP of, so you don't have to ask anyone, you don't have to pay anyone. You could put a small development team on this. How hard could it really be? I don't know, man. It's Sunday. We're talking crazy. Atari, I don't think still likes me, so I'll have to buy all this stuff. But I want this. I want this. This is cool. This is neat. What is Space Duel? That sounds like something that could be kind of cool. And it doesn't really look very cool to me. I don't like games where I have to use my imagination like too much. Frenzy might have some potential to be a buy. It looks like Berserk. I might just stick with Bentley Bear and Berserk. I do want to get Berserk, but like this is so cool to me. This is so cool to me. I'm going to order it actually right now because I think it'll make for a fun video. Let me know what you think of this in the comments section down below. Would you like to see Nintendo do something like this? My voice is getting very dry and cracked. I don't know why. I need some water. And as always, thank you for watching this video. Hit the like that I'm going through with a dry, cracked voice right now. All of a sudden, I don't know where it came from. And show your support for your boy. I'm dying. And as always, I'll catch you guys. What the hell's going on? I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.